Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We are talking about Bonnie and Clyde. I swear you hear this name everywhere. If you don't know who they are, I'm pretty sure you have heard about it. I'm not talking about Beyonce and Jay-Z, the couple that everybody's trying to say that, like they're the top goals. Now, mind you, this is not goals. This couple is not goals. They're robbers, they're thieves, and they're criminals. So I always hear about, they're like Bonnie and Clyde. Y'all, they reference it on everything. Family Guy, music videos. Like, it's so much. Do we really know who these people are? Well, I went to the FBI because, y'all, they have everything. They have documents, fingerprints, pictures, stuff I've never seen before because I was like too afraid to look at, even though it's not really scary. And before we even get into this, let's talk about this for a little bit. Let's talk about this couple. Let's see if I am on the level, or would I ever be at the level of that. Now, if I love somebody, would I commit a crime with them? The fact that I got to think about it just tells you I don't know yet. Now, they say in sickness or in health, or do it say for death? Is that a thing? I feel like nobody goes by this no more, like marriage, because they died together, they got murdered. But it's like, do people really, would they really die with their loved one? Is that really a thing? Because like, I would feel really selfish to say that I wouldn't, because I'm not going out that way. Like, if I was gonna commit a crime with my husband or my boyfriend that I really liked, it would have to be like we're trying our hardest to get out. I just don't think that, like, I don't think I could do it. Long story short, I don't think I can do it. I just don't think people are on that level. Like, you will. The crimes I talk about on this channel, the cases, y'all, these people that go to jail and they do disgusting stuff. Mind you, this was theft. Did they kill people? We're going to read about it. But the people nowadays, they're so sick in the head. They don't really love each other. They hurt their own. So I wouldn't say they're at like Bonnie and Clyde level. Mind you, remember I said this is not what you should be going for. But they were so in love, and this couple did everything to stay together. She held this man down. She was 19, he was 21. She was already married to an inmate that was a murderer. He was unmarried. And they hit it off, and they went on crime sprees. Y'all know what's crazy about that? I can only imagine, because this was in the 1930s. Who is thinking about this stuff in the 30s? This also tells you, I've been trying to figure out, pinpoint where crime has started, because you don't hear it. Well, I'm pretty sure it's stuff in the history. You gotta look it up. But I can't even name one other crime that was committed in the 30s. I don't know what they're documenting stuff on, what they're taking pictures with. Like, I can't document that stuff. Like, I don't know where to look. So I went on the FBI because I was looking up something, and I was looking at Bonnie and Clyde. I was researching it, y'all. And I saw FBI had stuff. So I was like, okay, let me click on this. They have something called the Vault. If you don't know what that is, it's a document that has everything in it about one crime. I found so much stuff on other stuff I'm going to be talking about. Mind you, the other ones might be a little longer because it's also hard to read some of this stuff because it's the original documents. So I'm going to get into it because I want to open the vault, and we're going to read about the document first, and then we're going to go into the vault, and I'm going to look up stuff that they have, because they have a couple of them, but I did see that it is hard to read some of this stuff because it's the original documents. I think that's so cool. I'm this type of person. I love history. That's why I like to share the screen. It's scary, but it's also very cool. Can't believe they really went out together. Shot up, and they got the picture too. So let's get into it. Let's start reading, y'all. First of all, let's talk about this picture. Look at the picture with her with the shotgun and him. I feel like that right there it screams toxic. It's like they used to this stuff. Oh, they about it. I'm not, y'all. Like, what if you accidentally pull the trigger? How is she not scared? The stance alone tells me everything. It's just so weird looking at these pictures. Look at this, the 30s, y'all. Like, look at this. Where were they? In was that the Grand Canyon? I just see dust. Yeah, it's so weird looking at pictures back then. Oh yeah, they were a toxic couple, beyond toxic. Okay, Bonnie and Clyde, also such an iconic name. just to say Bonnie and Clyde, it was such like a power name. But like I said, these are also criminals, so we shouldn't be trying to be like them. But I feel like nowadays people really try. Okay. Clyde Champion Barrow and Bonnie Parker were shot to death by officers in an ambush near Sales, Benville Parish, Louisiana on May 23, 1934, after one of the most extensive manhunts the nation had seen up to that time. Barrow was suspected of numerous killings, and he was wanted for murder, robbery, and state charges of kidnapping. Now, what's crazy is that I did not know they murdered. I literally only thought they like robbed people. I didn't think they actually killed people. So we had murder in the 30s. I literally need to make a timeline of where this stuff started. Wasn't it Jack the Ripper too? Didn't that start, they believe like the 1800s? I know people like died because, you know, pirates back then. Y'all took piracy. So pirates were real pirates, okay? Not like, you know, Somalia pirates. I'm talking about real pirates. So I know murder happened, but it wasn't like really documented because they couldn't really document stuff. Plus they died of a lot of diseases, so it's really hard to pinpoint stuff. But it's really interesting. I did not know he murdered, but yeah, he did. Well, he did. I don't know if she did, but if she was holding him down, I'm pretty sure she did. The FBI, then called the Bureau of Investigation, became interested in Clyde and Bonnie in December 1932 through a singular bit of evidence. A Ford automobile that had been stolen in Pawhuska, Oklahoma, was found abandoned near Jackson, Michigan in September of that year. At Pawhuska, law enforcement learned that another Ford car had been abandoned there after having been stolen in Illinois. And this car was a prescription bottle which led special agents to a drugstore in Nacogdoches, Texas. Investigators learned that the medicine had been prescribed to Clyde Barrow's aunt. Further investigation revealed that the woman who obtained the prescription had been visited recently by Clyde Barrow, Bonnie Parker, and Clyde's brother, L.C. It was also learned that these three were driving a Ford car, identified as the one stolen in Illinois. It was further shown that L.C. Barrow has secured the empty prescription bottle from a son of the woman who had originally obtained it. Evidence already been left. So it's so weird. I just think this stuff is so weird and cool at the same time. I put on my little posting on my community board, y'all. I would have so did criminology, but I just get scared like looking at stuff because I don't want to look at pictures. But like, I think trying to pinpoint where people going is so cool because you literally have to look at so much evidence. They left they left one bottle in the car, and it's weird. You have the FBI, known as the Bureau of Investigation at the time. Where did the F come in at? But it's like they pinpointed that one bottle in the 1930s. Let's not technology yet, y'all, and they was able to pinpoint all of that back to the family, like them. That's insane. People been leaving evidence since the 30s, since before that, you know. I guess you don't really think about it, but also they were going across, they were going through some states stealing cars. On May 20th, 1933, the United States Commissioner at Dallas, Texas, issued a warrant against Clyde Barrow and Bonnie Parker, charging them with the interstate transportation from Dallas to Oklahoma of the automobiles stolen in Illinois. The FBI then started its hunts for the exclusive pair. Oh, it's getting so juicy. Let me show y'all. Let me see if I can get closer on these pictures, but I don't think I can. But I can zoom in for you guys. So we have, this is their mug shots and stuff. I guess this is so interesting. He wasn't bad looking though for, you know, that time period. The slick back gel hair, he had a nice angled face, kind of a big nose and elf ears. That's a way to describe him. But we have fingerprints, which is just so cool to look at. Look at how they did this. Wanted. Do they even do that no more? Well, they don't have them in newspapers. They have it it's like wanted on the FBI, website. But you don't really see newspapers at all with people saying wanted. I don't know why I think it'd be cool if they did, because it'll be like, I know we progress to the future, but I just think stuff they did back then was so cool. Like, look at this. They should put this like stuff like this nowadays in the newspaper. So we have their identification number, which is his, and we have him wanted, Clyde Champion Barrow. His alias Clyde Barrow, Elvin Williams, Eldon Williams, Jack Haley, Ron Belly, everything he went by. That, like, he was already in the system, so they already had his stuff, y'all. Or, nope, this isn't. This is him wanted, so they already had his fingerprints. That's crazy. So the description they gave him, this is what he looked like. Age 23, height 5'7", bare feet, weight 150 pounds. Y'all, at first I really thought that this was like Bonnie. I was like, hold on. Okay. Built medium, hair dark brown wavy, reported dyed black, hazel eyes, light complexion, marks, shield, and anchor with the USK on right forearms. His outer arms, you got, it's a girl's bust. Left inner forearm, residence, Dallas, Texas. They have his relatives on here, y'all. They have everything here. They got his, let's talk about his criminal record. So as Clyde Champion Barrow, his number, was arrested in the police department in Dallas, Texas, December 3rd, 1926, charged with auto theft and indictment dismissed. Y'all know what's crazy about that? My grandma was born 1926, or was it 1931? She passed away, but she was like 86, 87. I believe it was 1926. I might not do math, y'all, but it was, no, actually it might be 1929. Oh, y'all, I was about to say I would love, if she was here, I would love to have asked her that, but she wouldn't have known. But it's really cool, just near that era of like, she was a kid though, so that wouldn't make sense. So y'all, we have two, let me use this right here. So 2 of his cases were dismissed, the thefts, but we also have one of which was, he spent 14 years in jail, which was the murder and the burglary, I believe. I would think, because it say burglary, but he also killed. He had a lot, he was paroled. This man did time, y'all. He was a pure fugitive. What did she see in him? Is it like that typical bad boy that you want, that, you know, he's handsome during that time period? Mind you, like I said, I don't know what he would look like now. Well, he would look like this, but, you know, I don't know. He don't look like a bad boy. I don't see it. But it's like, maybe it was like she wanted like to feel a high. Maybe her life was born. We gonna get into it. Let's continue reading. The crime spree begins. Also, you can see the pictures of them down here. Look at her with the waist holder on the jacket with guns on it, y'all. She was about it. Like, she wasn't playing. Oh, that's scary. They was like really, they was really about that. They was like that. Okay. Bonnie and Clyde met in Texas on January 30th. At the time, Bonnie was 19 and married to an imprisoned murderer. Maybe, I just think she was used to that lifestyle by then. So she just wanted somebody else to, like, you know, like I say, feel that high. You want to have fun. You want to be, you know, do whatever. You like the crime. I just think she was used to it. Clyde was 21 and unmarried. Soon after, he was arrested for a burglary and sent to jail. He escaped using a gun Bonnie had smuggled to him, was recaptured, and was sent back to prison. Clyde was paroled in February 1932, rejoined Bonnie, and resumed a life of crime. Later in 1932, Bonnie and Clyde began traveling with Raymond Hamilton, a young gunman. Hamilton left them several months later and was replaced by William Daniel Jones in November. Ivan M. Buck Barrow, Clyde's brother, was released from Texas State Prison on March 23rd, 1933, having been granted a full pardon by the governor. He quickly joined Clyde, bringing his wife Blanche, bringing a group to 5. So this array of people, you have family members in here, like they all are about crime. How did he get pardoned? They getting charges dropped. She's helping smuggle people out of jail. Oh yeah, they're like built into this. Is just what it is. It's so crazy to think that they were just, well, you don't know. This is waking me up right now. They were really just releasing like criminals back then. They still do that now. Like, they don't get no time, and they just went right back to it, and they just got a bigger group. How do you even find people to, like, it's like Grand Theft Auto. I know it's weird like talking about it like with this, but like, how do you get people to join? I don't understand how you get anybody to join like gangs, and like where will you find people to like be a gunman or a driver, a getaway car? How would you do that? This gang embarked upon a series of bold robberies that made headlines across the country. They escaped capture in various encounters with the law. However, their activities made law enforcement's efforts to apprehend them even more intense. During a shootout with the police in Iowa on July 29, 1933, Buck Barrow was fatally wounded and Blanche was captured. Jones, who was recently mistaken for Pretty Boy Floyd, was captured in November 1933 in Houston, Texas, by the sheriff's office. Bonnie and Clyde went on together. So we have it right here where it started. They used to be a gang. Half of them got, cut, and now it's just them two. And they stayed together, committing the crimes. Is it a love story, y'all? Is this really a love story, though? Should it be called a love story? These were criminals who met each other and continued. I really wish they had more on her backstory, though. I don't know if they do. We shall see, because I'm going to try to look it up, y'all. Because how does somebody get into this life of crime? Maybe was her dad a prisoner? Like, was he, like, I try to bring these factors in because how do, like, a young girl, she was only 19, like, start this way in the 30s. I'm like it happens all the time now. But in the 1930s, I thought this was a time where, was it a time when, men went to work, women, stayed home with the kids, cooked? That was basically all it was. Maybe I would do something. I wouldn't commit the crime. I wouldn't hurt people. But I feel like it'll definitely be better. This sounds so bad too. Maybe just not commit crime, but like going on like a police chase would be more fun than like sitting at home. Does that make sense? On November 22nd, 1933, the Dallas, Texas sheriff and his deputies set a trap to capture Bonnie and Clyde near Grand Prairie, Texas, but the couple escaped the officer's gunfire. They held up an attorney on the highway and took his car, which they abandoned in Miami, Oklahoma. On December 21st, 1933, Bonnie and Clyde held up and robbed a citizen at Shreveport, Louisiana. On January 16, 1934, 5 prisoners, including Raymond Hamilton, who was serving sentences totaling more than 200 years, were released from the East Ham State Prison Farm at Waldo, Texas, by Clyde, accompanied by Bonnie. 2 guards were shot by the escaping prisoners with automatic pistols that had been previously concealed in a ditch by Barrow. As the prisoners ran, Barrow covered their retreat with bursts of machine gun fire. Among the escapees was Henry Methvin of Louisiana. Okay, whoa, why does that sound like a movie right now? Dude, I'm pretty sure they got a movie called Bonnie and Clyde. I need to watch it. That was such like an adrenaline reading that. So look, let's talk about it. You started off with they had 5, and then you had the brother, I believe Henry was her brother, I do believe. He did so much that they got so tired of this man that they gave him a total of over 200 years in prison. Oh, he wasn't getting out. He's probably going to be hitting rocks for all, the rest of his years. Because back then, they was like, y'all remember the movie Holes? Just like, digging and hitting rocks. I feel like that's what it was back then. What else they doing in prison? So you had them in prison, and while they're in prison, you got Bonnie and Clyde robbing people, holding them up, going gunfire back and forth on the highways with police. How did they not get this couple? So we had Bonnie and Clyde also full force attacking prisoner guards to bail out their people. Now, when I say bail, I'm talking escape. They helped their friends escape. That's crazy to me. Oh my gosh, how are these people so cool? Why is this cool? Like, how did they not get shot while doing all this? People, police back then even sucked, because they sucked a lot now. But you know what? I'll give them their credit, because they were trying to get these two. These two was they was just moving too fast for them. They were moving. I just think it's so crazy that they really got away with that part. They were robbing people, holding people up, holding lawyers. Like, how did they not get shot? Like, were they wearing bulletproof? Was that even a thing back then? I just think that's so crazy. This really do feel like a movie while reading this. Let's get back into it. The last months, let's talk about it, y'all. And I'll show you guys a picture while I'm doing this. That's what it looked like when the car was shot up. Y'all, let y'all look at that while I'm reading. On April 1st, 1934, Bonnie and Clyde encountered 2 young highway patrolmen near Grapevine, Texas. Before the officers could draw their guns, they were shot. Of course, they were going out with a bang. Like, that's what I would do. Like, I'm not saying I would commit crime, but if I was in their situation, if you had nothing else to lose and you knew you was gonna, you don't want to go to jail, you was like, we're gonna go out one way or another. I always said, and this is gonna sound really bad because I'm not the one to be about crime, but if I was in the situation, I said I'm going out with a bang too. I won't take innocent people, but I'm going out with a bang. So they didn't even hesitate. They just shot the patrolman. Dang. On April 6, 1934, a constable at Miami, Oklahoma was mortally wounded by Bonnie and Clyde. The criminals also abducted and wounded a police chief. Although the FBI had jurisdiction solely on the charge of transporting a stolen automobile, the efforts of Bureau agents were vigorous and relentless. Every clue was followed. Wanted notices with fingerprints, photographs, descriptions, criminal records, and other information were distributed to all officers. Agents followed the trail through many states and into various hunts of the Barrow Gang, particularly Louisiana. The association with Henry Methvin and the Methvin family of Louisiana was also discovered by the FBI agents, and they found that Bonnie and Clyde had been driving a stolen car in New Orleans. On April 13th, 1934, an FBI agent obtained information that placed Bonnie and Clyde in a remote section southwest of that community. The Methvins' home was not far away, and the agents learned of the visits there by Bonnie and Clyde. Special agents in Texas had learned that Clyde and Bonnie had been traveling from Texas to Louisiana, sometimes accompanied by Henry Methvin. The FBI and local enforcement authorities in Louisiana and Texas concentrated on apprehending Bonnie and Clyde. It was learned that Bonnie and Clyde with some of the Methvins had staged the party at Black Lake, Louisiana on the night of May 21st, 1934, and were due to return to the area 2 days later. Look at the picture. Like, we see bullets, y'all. Bullets. And also, I see black people. What they was doing? They was working. I know 1930s, y'all. What is this? So, before dawn on May 23rd, 1934, police officers from Louisiana and Texas concealed themselves in bushes along the highway near Sales, Louisiana. Oh, it's getting juicy, y'all. They're staging out. They're about to get attacked. They're literally. It took that much planning to like try to catch these two off guard because they knew they were going to have a party, and that's the only way they can get them. Catch them off guard because maybe they're not. I'm pretty sure they was loaded. They had guns. They had guns. In the early daylight, Bonnie and Clyde appeared in an automobile, and when they attempted to drive away, the officers opened fire and they were killed instantly. At the time they were killed, Bonnie and Clyde were believed to have committed 13 murders and several robberies and burglaries. Clyde was suspected of murdering 2 police officers at Joplin, Missouri. He was also suspected of kidnapping a man and a woman in rural Louisiana. He released them near Waldo, Texas. Numerous sightings linked the pair to bank robberies and automobile thefts. Clyde allegedly murdered a man at Hillsborough, Texas, committed robberies at Lufkin and Dallas, Texas, murdered 1 sheriff, and wounded another at Stringtown, Oklahoma, kidnapped a deputy at Carlsbad, New Mexico, stole an automobile at Victoria, Texas, attempted to murder a deputy at Wharton, Texas, committed murder and robbery at Abilene and Sherman, Texas, committed murder at Dallas, Texas, abducted a sheriff and the chief of police at Wellington, Texas, and committed murder at Joplin and Columbia, Missouri. That was the biggest mouthful. Oh my God, the crime spree these two went. 13 murders. Yo, I feel like they killed more police than anybody, right? Because the people they killed, it was really like to rob them, but they didn't kill everybody. They let people go. But I feel like they killed people who got in their way. Dang, they really went through it. Now let's talk about the death. The picture. Oh, you say bullets. They wasted no time. They knew it. They knew you got cop killers over here. Take them out immediately. Dang, I'm pretty sure they had guns in their car. They don't leave anywhere without their guns. But they just opened fire and killed them immediately. The only way police would have known where they are if they were betrayed, which they were, mind you, if y'all didn't know, Henry Methvin ratted them out to get time off of his crimes, allegedly. That's what it says. I did my research a little bit. It says that he was the one that snitched. That's crazy because this is a friend, a local, one of their members. It's always the people closest to you that rat you out. That's what's crazy. They literally, they went out with, well, they didn't really go out with a bang, but they left a list of like crimes that really, it's up there. It's up there. But I really think they should be known as like cop killers, because they like really attack cops, people that just got in the way. Like, am I right, y'all? Before I tell you guys more about like my personal feelings about this case, I'm gonna show you guys the FBI vault, okay? Like I said, there's free documents you can look at and hear about the whole story. They have real documents, all the original ones. So let me show you all some stuff. So these are just some of the, this is in Dallas. We have some of, I'm pretty sure they're documented everything about the investigation. But let me show y'all something real quick. We have checkers information. It's so weird seeing this stuff from like the 30s. I always think it's really cool reading. It's like weird, but it's also like that when you go to like antique shop and you see stuff from like back in the day. I just find it really interesting. And like I said, weird. So look, these are like State of Arkansas, Department of Revenues, y'all, Little Rock, 1933, July 11th. That's so cool because I live in Little Rock right now. So they must have stole a car from here. That's what this is, I do believe. Let's read this one. United States Bureau of Investigation, Dallas, Texas. And it's in reply to your inquiry of July 8th with reference to 1933 Arkansas license 61132. I wish to advise that this license on a lost affidavit number 200840 to Maurice Harvey of Weldron, Arkansas for a 1931 Plymouth coupe motor. So they stole a car from here. That's so weird. That's just so weird. I found that interesting because it's like, it's so crazy to think that they were, maybe they stole the car while it was like in their location. They probably didn't come here, but there's something referencing to the place that I am in. I just think that's so interesting, y'all. But look, these other documents, it's just, they're old. And this is all about the case. Like, mind you, the investigation, when this stuff happened, you have to document everything. You have to pinpoint every location they went, the cars that they were in, what state that car drive in, because you're trying to see who has that car, where these people live, so they can return it. If they can return it, they need information to see if it was them. It's so much that goes into an investigation. That's why there's so many people working on the cases. That's why I said I would love to have done investigations. It would be so cool to do it, but it's so much work, y'all. I just want to do research, okay? I just want to do research. So here we have another piece of Arkansas. It's just weird finding stuff where like my state that I'm in right now, and don't judge me for living here. I don't like Arkansas. I'm figuring it out. At Fayetteville, Arkansas, agent interviewed Mrs. R.L. Brown, proprietor of Brown's Grocery, 111 Lafayette Street, and Ewell Trummer, a clerk in this store. Mrs. Brown stated that her store was held up at the afternoons of June 23, 1933, between the hours of 5 and 5:15 p.m. by a lone robber who obtained $17. Y'all, I was about to say $17,000 out of the cash register. Mrs. Brown and Ewell Trummer both identified photos of Clyde Barrow as the man who held them up. So he was here. Why am I acting like this is a celebrity? It's just so crazy. He was in Arkansas. I went to Fayetteville, like I went to go visit my sister in college up there. He was up there in the 1930s. It's crazy how $17 was so much back then. Y'all, if somebody held up the store for $17, I doubt anybody would even look at them again. They would not care. Well, yes, they would, because, you know, you robbed them. But realistically, you'd be like, what? Get out of here. But that was a lot of money back then. That's so weird. Wow, let's get to reading this little document. It's just interesting because it's Arkansas. Dewey Saborn, 5 miles south of Fayetteville, Arkansas, advised that on the afternoon of June 23, 1933, 2 men came to his house, which is just off the Fayetteville-Fort Smith Highway, and asked if he could spare a gallon of gasoline for his car, explaining that they had run out of gas and wanted to get to Fayetteville. Mr. Saborn stated that he secured about a gallon of gasoline from his car and helped the 2 men put it in their car, which was a maroon V8 Gosh, which is with an Indiana license plate. Thereafter, the 2 men drove off. He wrote the number of the piece of paper down with their license plate. Perhaps it's because he thought the car was stolen. The number of this license plate was given to an agent by Saborn, which was 225-464 Indiana, the same as which the car was abandoned in Alma. Yeah, this is so hard to read this document. when shown the photographs of Clyde and Melvin Barrow and Hubert Seymour positively identified the photos of the Barrow brothers as being the two men that had his car. He further stated that on Sunday morning, June 25th, 1933, he noticed the same two men pass him on the road 6 miles of Fayetteville, driving toward Fort Smith in a new model sedan, color black, bearing Texas license plates, number unknown, and that he is positive that these two were the same men that he had seen on June 23rd, 1933. Copies of photographs of Bonnie and Clyde, their aliases Mrs. Melvin Barrow, were obtained by sheriffs and are being retained in the files of Oklahoma. That is so cool. It's just so cool knowing that they it's just weird, it's cool, scary that they like rob people here. It's like the fact that it's like the world was so different back then. It looked totally different. And these people was up in this state robbing people. And the fact that they're going one way, robbing, getting another car, they were not playing. Like, they held out a few years. Wasn't it like 1933, like a couple, 2-3 years. A year. It wasn't that bad. Now, let me show you guys something too. This is what the vote looked like. If you go back, and this is their documents right here. Like, y'all look at this. I couldn't read this stuff. Like, you literally can't read this. It's literally their investigation, but it's so light I would not be able to read this. But if you want to, you can easily come on here, and I'll leave the descriptions, like leave them in the links below. I'm gonna show you guys another one real quick. It's just cool that they have all this. They have mug shots. Look at this. I can't see this. I can't even, is it him? Yes, it is him, but I can't even, like, I don't know if that's what it looked like back then. We have copies of newspaper clippings of the banks they robbed. I just think that's so freaking cool. It's like, we should not be glorifying criminals, but it's such an iconic case. I think that's why we do it. This is more paper clippings, y'all, of the brothers, and we have to say suspected released to federal officers. I think when he first got released, one of women with Barrows believed dead. Like, wow, look at that picture. Whoa, I wish I could flip this, but y'all going to kind of turn y'all head. I'll put it on the full screen so you can see. Look at that. Is that a picture of the area back then? Y'all know they gave Mafia. I just know it because my sister got it. Think about those cars. They're driving in those cars, not regular cars. We have to tell ourselves they're driving in those old 30s cars. A Ford from the 30s? Like, them things don't go over 30 miles per hour. And they were like going like everywhere with these. Like, you can't outrun the police with them, but they did. We also have more clippings. Look at this. I have a picture, and I'll put it up there of this picture, I do believe. So yeah, I can't read a lot of this stuff, but you can easily go through here, y'all. There's so many. I believe this one got 62. That's a picture of her, I think. Or maybe one of the sisters, because they don't look like her. These are it's really a lot of evidence though, y'all. We have, that is Melvin, I believe, Melvin Henry Melvin. He was definitely one to ratchet them out. That is Bonnie. I have that picture too. I'll put it up here. That is Henry Melvin. I don't know if the other one was him, y'all. But these are pictures of their gang. You know, the criminals stick together. I cannot read this. I'm also not good at like reading cursive, but I can't read this. I'm gonna tell y'all that now. So you can pause it and read it if you want. But like I said, you can also just look in the, I'll put these links in the description to all of these. We have Clyde. But yeah, just showing y'all that there's so much. And if you go to pages, you can easily just pinpoint them out. Like, look at this. You can pinpoint them out. It's really cool. And I'll show you guys one more. We'll go, they have so many parts. Y'all, it's so much to go through. Let's see. This is once, I believe this was just their whole document, like their story. This is their story. They document it because when you're doing an investigation, you have to literally document everything. That's the most annoying part. I watch criminal shows. I know what they got to do. They got to like put everything they done, or they're supposed to, all in the document. And it's like a thick document at the end of the day, and that goes into one case. So I just couldn't. But this is just this is their whole story. This is their story documented by the FBI. It's everything I told you guys. This is it. We read it at the beginning. It tells you when it started. This is it. So if you want to look at this or print it out for some reason, there you go. I find this case was so, like, it was so much adrenaline for me because I did not know they came to Arkansas. That's scary. It was also really cool. I should not be glorifying these people, but it's such an iconic case, and it was 1930s, but they killed people. We got to remember that these are murderers. So it's always find it interesting that people, like, nowadays they put this stuff in their music, in their movies, they reference stuff, and I'm like, y'all are referencing killers. It's just that I know it's cool, but at the same time we have to remember that these are bad people. We wouldn't glorify people nowadays, or you shouldn't, but the crime itself, let's talk about that. The crime, they were charged with so much stuff. They killed people, they robbed cars, they robbed people, they went against the police. They went on, like, shooting sprees. They were living their best life, and they went out together. Mind you, they got set up, but they went out together. Also, researchers believed that they were shot more than 50 times in that car. You see so many bullet holes in that car. I'll put the picture up too. They were shot over 50 times. She was shot 17, he was shot 26. But researchers believe it was 50. I was like, I don't know. Yeah, they counted the bullets, I'm pretty sure. Then it is, the 17 and 26 is true, though. It was said by the coroner. They were, like, lit up. It's just, I was going to say, was it like Tommy guns or something? Isn't there like a thing of Tommy gun? Tommy gun? Yeah, I don't know why I'm saying it like that. But wasn't there a thing, like, so there's like, are those not real bullets or something? I don't know what that is. I just know back then the mafia people, like, said Tommy gun. That's what I would think they was using. But there were so many bullets. They could have easily shot them once, you know, they probably wouldn't have stopped, but you have to keep firing because these are killers. Mind you, you have to remember that these are killers. You can't, nowadays, they would, I think, it'd be easier to catch them because, you know, technology. We got to give the police credit because, like I say, they let criminals out. They kept letting these people out, so really they did it to themselves. But they did all of this without the technology. They literally this was a time when you had journalists, and I always say I'm jealous of this era because just with, like, the jobs, because people actually had to go out and find the story. These people actually had to go out and, like, find these criminals. So I just think that was really cool. Like, I'm like, nowadays the work is like, it's still hard, but, like, you have documents, and, like, it's so hundreds, millions of documents on criminals and cases and stuff and places where they've gone and, like, where they were seen. You literally have these people driving. They're driving around to get the information. That's all they can do. People calling in, they got to go drive to that person to get, like, a description of these criminals. So they had their work cut out for them. And I still think it's crazy that they went through Arkansas. They were in Little Rock. Well, it was in Fayetteville, but I'm pretty sure they had to drive to Little Rock. What did this even look like in 1930s? That's so cool. Now I'm gonna tell my whole family about that. I'm like, y'all know we talk about Arkansas like so much, or I do, but Bonnie and Clyde was here, or Clyde was here. That's who it was. That's crazy. Y'all, this case was so and I'm like, I say so happy, but it was like the crime was just so insane, and they really went out, like, they didn't fight back because they, like I said, they were set up, but they definitely got a track record. They definitely got a long list of crimes with them. They'll be together in hell, definitely, because, you know, it's the evil people. But this is such a case where I think that, like, the U.S. really promotes it. People like to talk about this. It's such an infamous case in U.S. history. People reference this murder. People reference the couple. They reference everything because they see them as a couple who stuck together through thick and thin, and they didn't care. They were so young. We didn't even talk, like, we know the ages. She was 19, but when they first met, he was 21. They were so young. How did they even get like this? So growing up in that time, you have to be around bad influences. That's the only way. Because it's like, how does, like, in the 30s, this was 1930s. There was still segregation. Like, there was so much during this time. And just to know that you had people like this during this era is kind of cool, but it's also really freaky to know that like people were still killing in the 1930s. I always say it's for some reason, I don't know why I keep saying crime started in the 70s, because a lot of big crimes like serial killers was like in the 70s. That's why I say that. But we also had like serial killers from like the 60s. And was Ed Gein in the 60s? I don't know. I said it because it's picture black and white. Maybe. I don't want to know that. But it's like, it's just so much to pick apart with this case. Did y'all know that there's shot up vehicles in a museum? You could literally go to a museum. Is it the Ford Automobile Museum? You know, the ones that got JFK's. I'll put it up here if it is, y'all. I'll let y'all know. But you can go see their car in person, their real car. I kind of want to see it now too. That's really cool. Dang, this case is so crazy. Y'all, this was fun. I'm like, I got so intrigued and like so happy reading about this case because it's so insane. I just don't even know. But this was a couple. This is a real couple. They committed crimes. They were so young. I'm still on it. They were too young, way too young. Died by getting shot, ratted out by their friend. But they left a long list of bodies, 13 bodies, robberies, thefts, just burglaries, everything you could think of. They held up prisoners, shot up cops to get their people out of jail, shot cops on the highway running through them. Like, they really did that. They were really like that. So on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Bonnie and Clyde. Dang, it's such a cool name though. Bonnie and Clyde. Tatiana and him. Okay, it wouldn't work. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Road to 800. I'm ready to grow this channel more. I love it. I'm getting more into this. I'm happy. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Stay safe out there. Don't become Bonnie and Clyde. They're not role models. Bye.